All right, what's going on really quickly? Let's dive into some Sunday quickies, I guess. We're still talking about Bolanle, Ninalowo, and listen, there was some video that I saw earlier. There's something that we're not paying attention to here. I wanted to bring some attention to it really quickly. Very quickly. So this video, as you can see, they both look lovely. You know, this is the reason why a lot of people fantasize about this must have been a perfect situation. It's a sad reality, as he puts it himself, right? And I understand that. I get it. But there's something I want us to pay attention to here. I'm continuing to even expand these conversations beyond the obvious, which is what most people tend to talk about. Oh yeah, he must have been a cheater. Oh yeah, he must have never stopped cheating. Those are the obvious assumptions that most people make. But let's talk about some things that tend to be in the blind spot. I keep telling you, a lot of times, good people, majority of the time, it's good people that end up in divorce court. People that mean well, but they don't know how to. They don't have the how-tos. They don't have the skills. They don't have the tools, right? I wanted to point something out. If you look at the chemistry between the two of them here, she has her hands. He's not forcing her hands, okay? This body language does not look to me like she's forced to be in that situation. It looks to me very authentic, at least at the time when they were doing this, right? So it's very, very hard for me, shout out to my brother, Brother Ben, who said, oh yeah, the body language, we could look at all the staged stuff and say, okay, they probably staged some things here and there because it's a rock star, right? But this body language I'm looking at right here can easily pass for authenticity. So we cannot, I don't see enough to say, okay, this was all fake and they were trying to play perfect, like somebody said about Steve Harvey, right? I don't think so, okay? What I see, this is just my personal opinion. What I see, or more so what I want us to pay attention to, is something that may not be too obvious, that a lot of us have overlooked, fall into this category before, and this is it, okay? When people are passionate about each other, okay, and they love on each other and they are in love, that same level of energy, if they end up in a very bad place, if they end up in a toxic place, if they end up in a place of crisis, they apply the same level of energy, just in the opposite direction. Okay, the same level of passion that they apply to when they're in love is the same energy that they apply when they are fighting or where they hate each other. Okay, quote unquote. If they hate each other, if they ever find themselves in a place where there's toxic disagreement and argument, they apply the same level of passion. I know you didn't see that coming. Maybe you did, but let me call your attention to it, right? Let me remind you that it's the same passion that they used to love each other that they will use to fight each other. Okay, you ever heard when they say people wear their emotions on their sleeves? He comes off as that kind of guy, right? When he's very passionate about it, he goes all in. He wants to tell the whole world about it, right? But also when he's not in that space, when he's the opposite, right? This was an interview that I stumbled upon. It looks like they did it a while ago. They were already 16 years at this point because they mentioned it in the video, right? And they were doing like a playlist of their love playlist, whatever, right? He looked like he was just having a good time, and nothing was forced. But it doesn't mean that, I want you to be aware that the same passion that they argue with, the same passion that they jump on the internet authentically, right? When they are in love, the highlight is the same energy they tend to apply when they are fighting, when they're in the middle of argument or crisis. Okay, so what happens when people don't have the skills, when they don't have the tools, when they don't have the proper skills, the tools to handle disagreement? They will look like they've always been enemies. For those that don't know any better, to come off to them like, oh, so you guys have been playing perfect. Let me tell you something. My wife and I, the same passion that you see when we do the once a month session together, the same passion It's the same passion that we apply when we're in disagreement. The only difference between us and many other couples out there is that we have the skills and the tools to navigate those moments, right? That's the only difference, right? If we didn't have those skills and those tools, you might just turn around 2 years from now and say, yeah, they were playing perfect all along. No, not necessarily. Not necessarily. That's you playing holy, and that's you basically grossly discounting how emotions work. Emotions does not have a sense of direction. It's chaotic. Okay? It's chaotic. This is why you need emotional intelligence, right? So that you can understand that emotions are not your mate. And as much as you are playing in love, when you're in love, is the same energy. If not worse, it will feel worse, by the way. It might be the same, but it will feel worse. It will feel toxic. It will feel like somebody is draining. It will feel like disappointment. It might feel like betrayal because you've set yourself up, you've set them up to fail because you have unrealistic expectations that, because they love you, no one can claim to love you and then treat you a certain type of way. No, they're also caught up in their own emotions. Right? So you fight with that same passion, and then it looks like, you could have done better. You should know better. But you know how I feel. You're right. That's why I keep telling you, you're right. They are also right. No, don't say that. You're straddling the fence.
You're right.
Yes, let's call a spade a spade. Here's the spade for you. You are just as much an emotional person just like as the other person, right? As much as you feel like you're right, there's a good chance they feel like they're right. If that person is an evil person, well, guess who you need to point fingers at? You. How did you end up picking an evil person? Right? Because why? Because we're talking about a sensitive matter. We're talking about romance. We're talking about marriage. We're talking about relationships, particularly from a romantic standpoint, right? So you're not gonna get away with just pointing fingers. Unfortunately, it's not gonna fly. It's not gonna work. Okay? So the same passion, again, think about when they say somebody wears their emotions on their sleeve, same thing, right? What does it mean when people say that? When they say somebody wears their emotion on their sleeve, you can see here the way she's looking at him in this moment in time. To me, it looks like they were in love. They were rekindling things. They were trying to work on it. But when you don't have skills and tools, and all you have is just that you're in love, my brother, it is not enough. And by the way, keep in mind that in love is not the same thing as real love. Okay, so I might say, hey, it doesn't look like they're in love. Somebody say, well, I don't know what you mean. Well, here's the thing. There's a difference between in love and real love. In love simply means that somebody is, they feel love for you. That doesn't mean that there is love, particularly from a standpoint of sustainable love over time, skillful love, right? Because love will be tested. In love is the test, okay? Because tomorrow you're going to feel confused. Like, wait, I thought she was in love with me. Why is she acting that way? Well, feelings are temporary in nature, right? If it feels permanent because you've been doing it for a couple of decades, because it's now become second nature, you've been there, done that, right? But for anybody that has less than 7 years, you don't know what you don't know, especially if you're completely aware that there's a need for tools and skills when it comes to crisis and conflict handling. When you end up in crisis and conflict, the same passion that you operate with when you're in love is the same passion you will fight with. Now, guess who's going to be on the receiving end of that? It's now a competition. Your partner is going to be on the receiving end of that. Guess who's going to feel like they're on the receiving end of that? You will feel like you're on the receiving end of that. Okay? You will feel like you're on the receiving end of that. So, let's be aware. Tools. The lesson here is tools and skills. Tools and skills. If you are in love, it's not enough. Real love includes tools and skills. Things like kindness, patience, everything you've seen in the book of Corinthians, right? In the letters to the Corinthians, right? All those kind of things will be involved, and you know those things will be tested, right? The devil will test you, and some people will fail completely. Some people will get through to the other side, not because they're lucky. Some luck are involved in every type of success, but skills and tools. All right. Hopefully, you've been enlightened, educated. I'll see you on the next one.
Your love that I've been missing. I miss all your hugs, your touching and kissing. Make love on the floor, the couch in the kitchen. One love enough, we done enough.